Das Thakur, a great devotee, a great acharya, teacher, in our Gauranga Vaishnava Sampradaya. One of the great teachers of our line, coming from Lord Caitanya, of course. Narottam Das has written many songs which are recognized as authoritative by all Vaishnavas. He has sung these songs in simple Bengali language, but the purport, the deep meaning of his songs is very significant. In this song he says, Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharir. One has attained the perfection of chanting when as soon as he chants the name of Lord Gauranga, who initiated this Sankirtan movement, at once there is shivering in the body. This is not to be imitated, but Narottam Das Thakur is asking, when will that opportune moment come to us, when there will be shivering of the body as soon as we chant Lord Gauranga's name? And after the shivering, Hari Hari Bolite Nayani Babinir, while chanting Hare Krishna, there will be tears in the eyes. Then he says, Ara Kabe Nitai Chander Koruna Hoibe. We are all asking about the mercy of Lord Nityananda. Nityananda is supposed to be the original spiritual master. So we have to approach Gauranga, Lord Caitanya, through the mercy of Lord Nityananda. What is a symptom of a person who has achieved the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda? What is a symptom of one who has achieved the causeless mercy of Lord Nityananda? What is his symptom? Who can say without looking at the words? You've seen the words, you cheat. A cheater. Cheater. You cannot get the mercy like as easily as that, believe me. Yes, if you've got that mercy, he has no more material desires. Oh my goodness. None. No more material desires at all for anything. No desire for respect. No desire for honor, for worship. No desire for followers, for enjoying this world. No desires for liberation. No desires for karmic freedom from karma. Nothing. That's very rare, isn't it? Samsara dava, arakabe nitaicham, kuruna hoibe samsara vasanamor kabe tucha habe. Samsara vasana means desire for material enjoyment. And Narottam Das wonders when it will become very insignificant. Of course, as long as we have material bodies, we have to accept so many material things. Family, especially if you're family members, working people, what to do, but not in the spirit of enjoyment. Oh, okay. We have to accept them, but not with the idea they're for my enjoyment, they're for Krishna's enjoyment. We have to do that to keep our body and soul together. Narottam Das further says, Rupa Raghunatha Padi Hoibe Akuti. When shall I be very much eager to study the books left by the 6 Goswamis? Akuti means eagerness, because Rupa Goswami is the father of devotional service. When it says the father of devotional service, particularly in terms of our particular line of succession, he is the acharya of the process of devotional practice which we are following. So we're known as Rupanugas. So he is our father, you could say. He's written a book, Prabhupada says, called Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, in which there are nice directions on devotional service. These topics are also dealt with in Caitanya Charitamrita and other books. And we have given the summary of those directions in our book, Teachings of Lord Caitanya. One has to learn of the conjugal loving affairs of Radha and Krishna through the teachings of these 6 Goswamis. Narottam Das Thakur directs us not to try to understand the original love of Radha Krishna by our own endeavor. We should try to understand this Yugala Priti, conjugal love, under the direction of the Goswamis. As long as the mind is too much absorbed in materialistic thought, one cannot enter into the kingdom of Vrindavan. But Narottam Das Thakur says, Vishaya Chariya Kabe, Shudhaviwan, Kabe Hama, Hirabo, Shivandavan. When the mind is completely purified, being freed from material anxiety and desire, then I shall be able to understand Vrindavan and the conjugal love of Radha and Krishna, and then my spiritual life will be successful. So, everyone's got it on the screen? Is it on the screen?
Yes, Lord.
Can you read it? Is it readable? I'll do it here. If any of the harmonium, good. You ready? Ready to beat? Gauranga, I go down. Gauranga, Bolite, Habe, Shri, Hari Hari, Bolite, Habe, Gauranga, Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharira Hari Hari Bolite Nai Jari Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharira Hari Hari Bolite Jai Bhavira Gauranga Sapate Mahumora Patana Puroye Sada Narottamata Hari Hari Bolite Nai Jai Bhavira Gauranga Bolite Habe Pulaka Sharira Hari Hari Bolite Nai Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki, Mahaprabhu ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Panchatattva ki, Shri Srivada Madhava ki, all glorious to the assembled devotees, all glorious to Shri Gauranga, all glorious to Shri Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So I thought with Gopurnima coming very shortly, Hare Krishna, Hare Bolite. Nice to see you after so long. We've been missing you so much. Are you okay? Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for coming. Hare Bol. And who's behind Achyuta? Who's sitting behind Achyuta? Huh? Oh, Iskcon. Okay. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Do you know most of the devotees here, Leela? Some. Some. You know Achyuta Madhava, of course. And some of the older devotees. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So I thought we would read a little something about Lord Caitanya tonight. Normally we read from Caitanya Charitamrita, but this evening I decided that we will read from Caitanya Bhagavat. Maybe you've heard of this book, Caitanya Bhagavat. It's another biography of the life of Lord Caitanya. Lord Caitanya is Radha and Krishna personified as Lord Gauranga. The most merciful form, it said, most magnificent, magnanimous form of Godhead. who came to this world only 500 or so years ago. Jai Jai Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Jai Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Oh Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda. 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 Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Caitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasati Gaura Bhakta. So we haven't got time to tell much of the background, but in very brief, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after accepting the sannyas order of life, went to Jagannath Puri, and after some years he returned to Bengal, as he promised. He came back to Bengal, and there are different accounts of his various pastimes in Bengal. But in Chaitanya Bhagavat it describes how he stayed in the house of the brother of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's brother was named as Vidya Vachaspati. Yeah. Gopinathacharya was his brother-in-law. His brother was Vidya Vachaspati. They were both very, very learned scholars. Two of the most heralded learned scholars of the day. Sarvabhauma was in Puri, Jagannath Puri of course. And Vidya Vachaspati was in Navadvip, which was then, 500 years ago, renowned as a great seat of learning. Like Varanasi is also renowned. Navadvip was also very famous as a seat of learning. So Lord Chaitanya decided to stay in his house because, well, partly because of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Because Lord Chaitanya had gone particularly to Jagannath Puri to deliver Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, who was his eternal servant, but was behaving otherwise. So then, because he knew he was his brother, he stayed there incognito, actually for some time. But when the devotees in Navadvip found out, of course, they were all coming to see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there, and Lord Chaitanya was receiving them with love. But then all of a sudden, in the middle of the night, Lord Chaitanya left the house without any notice. He just disappeared in the middle of the night. Not a big deal for Lord Chaitanya. He didn't have to pack many bags.
If you have to leave in the middle of the night, it would probably not be possible. You probably have to pack many bags. Everyone will find out. But Lord Chaitanya had no bags at all. No bags. He just walked out with his kamandalu and nothing really. Just easy enough. He didn't even have a Ganga that had been destroyed by Nityananda. Just very few things. He just walked out the door in the middle of the night, nobody knew, and he went to Kulia at a distance across the river Ganga. Vidyavachaspati stayed on the other side of the Ganga to Mayapur, so every time there was had to cross the river, it was difficult. But Kulia was even more difficult to cross. You had to cross the Ganga in a different direction again, and very long distances were involved crossing the river. So when Vidyavachaspati arose, he saw that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was no longer in his home, and he was devastated. So the next day all the people came, all the devotees came again. They demanded to see Lord Chaitanya, and they said he's not here. And then they didn't believe him. They thought he was trying to hide him away. You're a miser. You were trying to keep Lord Chaitanya for yourself. You're supposed to be a Brahmin. Now we understand you're not really a Brahmin. They were criticizing him in so many ways. This was like, he couldn't convince them anyway. No matter what he said, they were not convinced. And they gave so many examples, but he couldn't convince them. So he was first of all devastated that Lord Chaitanya left. Now he's being criticized by all the devotees for, so to say, telling a lie, keeping him in his home, which he wasn't telling a lie. But they didn't believe him. So he didn't know what to do. And he didn't know where he'd gone. He had no idea where Lord Chaitanya was. Lord Chaitanya would do that sometimes. You know, Krishna plays tricks like this. Huh? He appears, then he disappears. You don't know where he is. He did that in the Rasa Leela also. Huh? He suddenly disappeared from the Rasa Leela. He does these things just to intensify your desire for his service, to be with him. And so it was going on for days like this. It was unbearable. And then some day later or 2 days later, whatever, one of the devotees who came whispered in Vidyavachaspati's ears, Mahaprabhu has gone to Kulia. Now you do whatever you wish. So immediately he was very joyful. Now at least he knows where Lord Chaitanya is. So then he declared to all the people, Lord Chaitanya is in Kulia. Let us all go there right now. So they all became excited. They kind of forgot their woes and everything. And they all decided, they were all condemning themselves. We are sinful people. If we do not get Mahaprabhu's association, we are condemned. Why are you condemning us like this? Why you alone are getting liberation? What about us? We also want freedom. They may want more than that. But you get the idea. So they all went off to Kulia, but that was like, there were thousands of them to begin with. And all of a sudden the crowds expanded unendingly. There was no way. So we're taken off at that point from the Caitanya Bhagavat of Vrindavan Das Thakur, which is said to be the authoritative biography of Lord Chaitanya. Even we find in the Caitanya Charitamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj says, Caitanya Bhagavat is the authoritative commentary or biography of Lord Chaitanya's life. The number of people coming from Vachaspati's village multiplied millions of times by the time they reached Kulia. Millions of times. Nobody knew where they were coming from. It is not possible for anyone other than the thousand-headed Ananta to describe the huge crowds that were attracted to Kulia. No one knew where the hundreds of thousands of people came from or how they all crossed the river. Although many boats sunk in the Ganges, everyone got across. And if you've been to the Ganges, it's quite a fast-flowing river with many whirlpools. It's not easy to swim across even for a good swimmer. You can, but you've got to be careful. So boats were overturning. There's so many people on board. There were thousands of people. Some of the boats, they said they split in half because of the crowds. But somehow they all got across with different means and methods.
Everyone got across. Not a single person drowned. Whenever a boat would begin to sink in the Ganges, it would be found that a sandbar was right below it. Such was Lord Chaitanya's merciful will. Suddenly the bar would come up and support it. A person who even once glorifies the names and qualities of the Supreme Lord crosses over the material ocean as if it were the water contained in the hoof print of a calf. So they're able to cross over this turbulent river because they're remembering Lord Chaitanya. This is the only way we can cross over the ocean of material misery, remembering Lord Chaitanya. Therefore, what is the wonder that persons who were going to directly see that Lord would cross the Ganges? Hundreds of thousands of people joyfully crossed the Ganges by floating in those waters. After easily crossing the Ganges, people embraced one another and chanted the name of Hari, Hari, Hari. The boatmen earned abundant wealth, and a number of people set up shops. Nothing's changed, huh? As soon as wherever Iskcon goes, thousands of people come, and then they increase the price of the boats 10 times, and shops pop up everywhere selling. Or it's like Louis Bazaar, you can get the same thing half the price around the corner, but everyone goes to Louis Bazaar. It's like the guys in Louis Bazaar are getting it from around the corner as well. This is how it is when crowds of people turn up. It's all part of the fun. People in the 4 directions purchased whatever they desired. No one could understand who was arranging all this. Within a short time, the entire village, including the streets and the outskirts, became so filled with people, there was no empty space. It was packed, one side to the other. No room to move, hardly. Unlimited millions of people chanted the name of Hari, yet the crest jewel of sannyasis stayed hidden and did not come out. They still couldn't find him. After a while, Vachaspati Mahashaya arrived there, yet he was also unable to find out where the Lord was. After a while, Lord Gauranga summoned Vachaspati to come alone to see him. He must have sent someone to tell him to bring him there. As soon as the son of Visharada, that's Vachaspati, saw the Lord, he offered him full obeisances. He repeatedly offered obeisances and recited various verses describing the incarnation of Lord Chaitanya. So these are some of his prayers. Sangsa udara lagi ye Chaitanya rupe tarilena yateka patita bhava kupe. In the form of Lord Chaitanya, you have delivered the entire universe by rescuing the fallen souls from the deep well of material existence. Here it's called Bhavakupi. Sometimes we hear Andakupe. Dark well, which is almost impossible to get out. Bhava refers to the well of birth and death. And Lord Chaitanya, the poor people, the petits who've fallen into this well of material existence, he is delivering them. In the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is delivering them, lagi, samsara udara lagi. He's delivering them from this deep well of material existence, the fallen souls who are trapped in this material world. Lord Chaitanya has come to deliver everybody. It's like if you ever seen anybody in a well, stuck in a well, probably you have? Who said yes? Somebody's seen somebody stuck in a well? I mean an actual well. You know a well? A deep thing with water in the bottom. You've seen somebody stuck in there? You've seen somebody? You were stuck in a well. What were you doing down there?
I was pushed.
Pardon?
I was pushed.
You were pushed in the well, my goodness. I won't ask why or by who, but that's not a very nice thing to have done to you, is it? Be pushed into the bottom of a well. Whoa, difficult to get out on your own. It's possible, but very, very, very difficult. Depends how wide the well is. If it's not very wide, you might be able to get out by, pushing your arms left and right. But if it's too wide, you can't get out. You can't climb up vertical wall. Lizards may be able to do that, but we can't. Anyone else seen anyone stuck? You've seen someone stuck in a well? Where?
My grandmother tied my uncle and put in the well.
She tied your uncle up and threw him in the well.
Because he was doing naughty things.
Okay. Anyway, that's a family feud. I mean, we won't get into that one. Yeah, it's real difficult to get out. How do you get out of a well? Yeah, somebody, generally, I mean, there may be other ways, but generally someone has to come along and throw down a rope, isn't it?
Yes.
How did you get out?
The elder persons get the rope and then
Yeah, then you try that. So a rope, they throw a rope down and then you can get out and hope you can swim. So, the thing is, if they throw the rope down, what happens if you don't take hold of it? Prabhupada says that, doesn't he say? That you're drowning in a well, you're crying out, help, 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 help. Exactly. Somebody comes along, sees you there, and then maybe if you're lucky they get a rope and then they throw it down, and then you shout back, help me to hold on to the rope. What can they do? You have to do your job. So the mercy is there, Lord Chaitanya's mercy is there, Prabhupada said, but we have to take it. It's nice to say, we know to know it's there, that's good, but we have to take the rope also. If we don't hold the rope or tie the rope around us, then what do we expect? Why is Lord Chaitanya, you can see, why am I not getting the mercy? We have to take the mercy. Prabhupada said the mercy is there, you just have to take it. Sometimes, please give me the mercy. The mercy is already there. In various ways. The Prabhupada's books, the Sankirtan, so many ways. So Lord Chaitanya has come. He's like that lifeline, which unlimited lifelines. Everyone can hold on. There's no limit of ropes. Don't worry. There's no limit, unlimited ropes. But we have to hold on and not let go. If we take shelter of the fallible soldiers, the Atmasanyasvasatsvapi of this world, the so-called shelter of this world in the form of sense enjoyment, then, we won't be able to hold on, as we just sang just now. Ishaya chariya kabe, Shudahabima, kabihama, heramo, Shri Vrindavan. You want to go to Vrindavan and Vishaya chariya. We may not be able to give it up right away, it takes time, but ultimately we have to let go. Otherwise, Prabhupada gives the example, isn't it, of a wedding party. Now, you don't have that experience perhaps here, I don't know. But in Bangladesh, used to be Bengal, Bangladesh, there are many wide rivers, and I'll tell you some, I've been across some of them. It's a whole big boat to get across there. It takes almost a day, half a day at least, to cross the river practically. Or at least to go from where you want to go to the other place. It may not be straight across. It takes ages. People travel by boat more than anything else. There's not roads. The rivers are so big, there's no roads. The roads only go in between. Sometimes bridges when it's not so wide. So there's a wedding party. They were going from one place to the next, to the other place. The groom's party going to the bride's party, to the bride's village or whatever. And they all got on board the boat at night because the wedding was the next day. So they were very excited. Hundreds of them, the whole family, village, all got on board the big boat. And those days they used to row. They didn't have the machine, mechanism that we have today. The boat would be rowed. And so the oarsmen, it was just sunset, just a little earlier than now. So it was dark. And they started to row. And all night long, you can't see much at night. It was a dark moon night. They're rowing down the river all night long, rowing. Normally it takes about 8 hours to reach the destination or something like that. And then the sun starts to rise, and the wedding party wake up thinking, wonderful, today we've arrived in the village, today is the wedding of our son. And then they suddenly wake up and they kind of, your eyes are, they clean your eyes out a little bit, look around. Hey, This looks familiar. Where are we? Hey, that's your house over there. What's going on? And that's your house over there. We're in the same place. Look over there. There's the jetty. That's where we started last night. We haven't gone anywhere. Where's the captain of this ship? Come, get him. What have you done? We paid you so much money and you haven't done anything all night. You've been sleeping. We've not gone anywhere. We're supposed to be this morning. We're supposed to be there for the wedding. And the captain said, I don't know what's happened. Look at my men. They're all exhausted. They're rowing non-stop for 8 to 10 hours. I don't understand what's happened. And nobody knew what's going on here. And then one little boy in the party was at the back of the boat. He said, hey, Daddy, the anchor's still in the ground. Oh, we forgot to take the anchor out. And that's a little bit like our life now. We want to keep the anchor in the ground and we want to go back to Godhead. Well, a little bit, please. Okay, but eventually we've got to take the anchor out if you want to go very far. You can only go this, if the anchor tells you can go about maybe 10, 20 meters. And then the anchor goes, you can't go any further. You can go as much as you like. We're going to take the anchor out the ground if we really want to go much further. Otherwise we start to get stuck at a certain level, depending on how long your rope is. Become kind of like a plateau. There's another level of giving up. But in Lord Chaitanya's movement is so nice. It's not all about so much giving up. That's there. But it's about holding on. Taking complete shelter of the Sankirtan, the chanting of the holy name. So he goes on. Lord Chaitanya has come to deliver us from this great well of material existence. Most merciful. Just take the Sankirtan, just absorb oneself in chanting and hearing about Krishna. Automatically our hearts will become purified with material desire. May Gaur Sundar. I'll read this. Very beautiful. Se Gaur Sundar Kripa Samudra Praya Janma Janma Chite Mora Sukha Sadaya. May Gaur Sundar, whose mercy is unlimited, like the ocean, remain seated in my heart, birth after birth. He's not even asking for, liberation. Because to have the opportunity to be with Lord Caitanya is the perfection of existence. You don't need anything else. There's no need for liberation or elevation to heavens or material things. Every desire of the soul is completely fulfilled in the presence of Lord Caitanya. That's the goal. That's our eternal position. Kindly remain seated in my heart. In other words, may I never forget you. May I always remember you. His mercy is unlimited like the ocean. The ocean is, you could say it's measurable, but the waves of the ocean are not measurable. They're never ending. So the waves of Lord Chaitanya's mercy are unlimited. So he's praying that you always remember him in his heart. The Lord always be there with him in his heart. And by remembering Lord Caitanya, as we mentioned, maybe this morning, but sometime today, is by remembrance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even difficult things become easy. And if we forget him, easy things can become difficult. So let us take shelter of Lord Chaitanya. Samsara sagarema jagadekiha niravadi varshe prema kripa yukta haya. On seeing everyone in the entire world drowning in the ocean of material existence, you mercifully bless them with a constant shower of ecstatic love. Lord Chaitanya came for two reasons: to experience personally, as we heard the other day, to personally experience that love of God which only his pure devotees can experience. He appeared in the mood of a devotee, the mood of Radharani, but is Krishna himself. Because he was in the mood of Radharani, therefore his complexion is golden. And he wanted to taste that highest form
of Krishna prema. Lord Chaitanya places his devotees sometimes into a situation where they experience intense separation from him. It's a form of love which is incomparable to other forms. The intensity of that love, the absorption in devotional love of Krishna is so intense. This cannot be compared to anything else. So they're in this mood, and Lord Chaitanya was feeling this mood of intense love. He came for this reason, the primary reason, to taste the nectar which Srimati Radharani experienced in her relationship with Krishna. This was his reason for taking that form. Because as Krishna, he cannot understand the love of Radharani. So therefore he takes a form, Gauranga Mahaprabhu, to experience the love which Srimati Radharani experiences. Her love for Krishna. So in that mood, but simultaneously, not simultaneously, but yes, simultaneously, but also to achieve, in the process of experiencing that love, is experienced through the performance of congregational chanting. It's quite amazing, because by this method, or by this program of congregational chanting, Lord Chaitanya gave everyone the opportunity to be immersed into this ocean, this premanava, this ocean of prema. And he wanted everyone to get into that ocean, because Radharani wants Krishna's pleasure to be unlimited. So when unlimited living entities are in that mood of prema, then Krishna's happiness increases unlimitedly. So this is the mood of Lord Chaitanya, to immerse everyone in that great ocean, to bring pleasure to Krishna. Ena yeya tula kripa maya goradham, Uruko amara hidayete abhinam. May Gauranga, the abode of incomparable mercy, always manifests within my heart. Ena shlokapadi kadivi prastuti, puna puna dandavat haya rajaspati. In this way the Brahmin Rajaspati prayed to the Lord by reciting various verses and offered him repeated obeisances. Lord Gaurasundara acknowledged Vachaspati with his merciful glance. Vachaspati then stood up with his hands folded and said, "O magnanimous Lord, please listen to my request. You are fully independent and always filled with ecstasy. All of your activities are performed according to your own sweet will. You stay at one place or move to another according to your own sweet will. Only when you reveal yourself can one know you." This is a very important point which we should all be aware of, that Krishna is not obligated to reveal himself. Just to say, why doesn't he show himself to me? If God exists, why can't I see him? They just say, I want to see him. Okay, maybe some good sentiment involved, but it's not cheap. The pure devotional service is rarely obtained. Why? Because pure devotional service captures Krishna. He's obligated, he's captured by pure loving devotion. He has no choice but to reveal himself. He doesn't reveal himself to anyone. He does, but in a different form. To the gross materialist, he reveals himself as death. To those who are interested in, what we say, the cosmic situation, maybe the universal form of the Lord in its various manifestations may be appreciated. To those who want to merge in God, he appears as the impersonal Brahman. For those who want to attain material benefits, whatever, he appears in empowered forms, usually demigods, devas. For those who want to worship him in reverential worship, he appears as the Lord Narayan. He appears in different ways to different persons, and then of course within each of those there are many varieties. When we hear about Krishna's entry into the wrestling arena, the Dana Yogya, which was arranged by Kamsa, everyone saw him differently. He appeared differently. As they surrender unto me, I reveal myself accordingly. So those who were really enemies of Krishna, they saw him as their enemy. They just saw him as negatively. Those who were, the rest saw them as very powerful young men. Different people, but the gopis, not the gopis, but they weren't there. But the ladies of Mathura saw him as their cynosure, their object of their love. Others saw him as a helpless young boy being mistreated. Others saw him as a super soul. Others saw him as, whatever, the impersonable man, and so on. He reciprocated with each and every one of them accordingly. So he reveals himself as we surrender. But the actual revelation or the realization of Krishna as he is, his original form, is very rarely seen. And he only reveals himself to the one he chooses. It doesn't depend, Prabhupada even says himself, he writes, the awakening of our dormant loving affection to Krishna does not at all depend on the mechanical process of hearing and chanting. It depends wholly and solely on the mercy of the Lord. Of course, we make our best effort. How else will you get the mercy of the Lord? The main key in this is to please the pure devotee of the Lord. That's the main key to the kingdom of God, is pleasing the pure devotee. Service to the devotees in general, and service to the pure devotees of the Lord. This is the gateway to the kingdom of God. So one would have to find out how to please them. That's the topic in of itself. But pleasing the pure devotees, then Krishna is you could say, obliged. He's obliged by the will of his pure devotees. He has to fulfill their will. So if a pure devotee recommends somebody, then you're eligible. That's the only real eligibility. No amount of learning, no amount of austerity, no amount of years, no amount of physical achievement, nothing qualifies one other than that, the mercy of the pure devotees. And they recommend one, we could say, to Krishna. And Krishna's obligation. That's the mercy of the pure devotees. No one else, it's not possible to know Krishna otherwise. We can speculate, but knowledge of Krishna is revealed by Krishna. It's something which is revealed within, by the will of the Lord, not by our effort. No one can understand God by study. No one can understand him by any of these other means. Methodology, yoga, meditation, welfare activities. No one can understand. Only if he reveals himself can he be understood. And he himself says to Arjuna, you can only be seen through Bhaktananya. That was 11th chapter, how does it go? 11:54 something like 11:53, 54, something like that. Only through devotional service can I be seen as I am standing before you. 11th chapter. Bhaktananya. Memory's gone. You find it there, Kavi?
Yes, brother.
54? What does it say?
Bhaktananyaya shakya aham eva vidojana yatum dastum tatvena praveshtum cha parantapa. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you. You can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding.
So there is the undivided devotional service, the same thing without any other desire. What is the definition of undivided devotional service, the most famous one? This is the definition of undivided, pure devotion. What does it mean? Anybody? I know some of you are not familiar too much with these shastras, but some of you are. So this is the most important verse in many ways in the nectar of devotion, which we just heard about. Practically the most important verse. The whole nectar of devotion is more or less, you could say, based on this verse. It's like the Paribhasha Sutra of the nectar of devotion. This book written by Rupa Goswami, which is the guidebook for all devotees in our movement. Like the Bible of our movement, Prabhupada said. So the key verse, the practitioners, this is the key verse. What does it mean?
All desire becomes zero.
The description of, by the way, is a description of the topmost unalloyed devotion. So there's two factors involved. One is called the Tatastha Lakshana, one is the Svarup Lakshana. So first we'll look at the Tatastha means marginal or secondary characteristics. Lakshana means characteristics. So what are the secondary characteristics or the marginal ones? The devotional service, pure devotional service is?
It means all desires such as jnana.
It is without anukulyena krishna, anya vilas. Anya vilasita shunyam. It is without any other desire. No other desire. No desire for material achievement. No desire for liberation. No desire for yogic mystic powers. No desire for merging. No desire for anything other than, it's without any other desire. So that's not telling you what the desire is, but it tells you what it's not. So the secondary, you have no other desires whatsoever. So what desires do you have? Anukulyena Krishna. What is that?
Favorable devotional service to
You're the teacher. What about the students? Have you not taught them? They don't know the answer. Huh? Pardon? Anukulyena Krishna. There's Pratikul and Anukul. What is Anukul? What is Pratikul? Don't speak. We were meant to put some tape on your mouth the other day, we forgot. What is Pratikul? Pratikul. It doesn't mean pretty cool. I feel pretty cool tonight. Nothing to do with that. Some of you might say, oh, that sounds good, pretty cool. What is pretty cool? Anyone know? Anukul, pretty cool.
Serve Krishna exclusively.
Pardon?
Serve Krishna exclusively.
That's Anukul. And I asked what was, so you can guess that Pratikul is the opposite. Unfavorable. You may be serving, but you have to know what Krishna wants, not what you want.
Yeah.
Anukul means what Krishna wants, not what we want.
One of your lecture, Maharaj,
Huh?
one of your lecture you mentioned that if you love somebody, you have to know what they like.
Exactly.
So if you love Krishna, you have to know what he likes. That's one of your lectures.
It was. Prabhupada, we're just repeating what Prabhupada says. That's not my lecture. But that's the process of devotion. Devotional service means to find out what Krishna wants and to do it. To act like that, to think like that, to whatever, behave like that. So Anukul, that which is pleasing to Krishna. That which pleases Krishna. Devotional service is that which brings pleasure to Krishna. And to different degrees. Pratikul, Anukul. Anukulyena Krishna. Anu, what does Anu mean? In different meanings, pardon?
different meaning, but majority may be follow.
Following. Usually it means... That was a nice... nicely blown. Who blew that? Who's the blower? Who's that blower? There he is. Well blown, sir. Sounds like a trumpet, doesn't it? It has different blows for different situations. Yeah, to follow, or to follow, but not to follow what? It's to follow in the footsteps, isn't it? To follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees. To do it the way they, that's just a secret in devotional service, is we try to emulate, you could say. In the material world, everybody is emulating somebody, or following somebody or something. So we try to follow the pure devotees. We don't try to imitate them, we try to follow them. So following in their footsteps. We try to do that which is pleasing to Krishna. Shila, I've already said what it means. What does Shila mean? Yeah, we cultivate that mood. I already said basically we try to act in a way that they'd show us how to please Krishna. So Shila, by cultivating that mood of that which is favorable to Krishna, and we reject that which is not favorable. It's two of the symptoms of surrender, isn't it? To accept that which is favorable and to reject that which is unfavorable. Then the Chaspati goes on. You stay at one place or move to another according to your own sweet will. Only when you reveal yourself can one know you. No other way. Therefore you alone know your activities. Krishna says that in the Bhagavad Gita on a few occasions. Nobody knows me. Neither the great sages, the demigods, nobody knows me fully. Only if he reveals himself accordingly. Who can subject you to rules and regulations? God is not subjected. This is one of the say misunderstandings, fallacies of many people's understanding is that they think God can be measured according to our own. The rules and regulations of this world are for us. They're given by God himself. It's like in a prison house, people have to follow the rules of the prison, but the citizens outside don't. They're not against the government. So like that, those who are against Krishna, all these rules and regulations are there. But in the spiritual world, there's only one rule, and that's love. Nothing else. There's no need of any regulation. There's spontaneous love is the only existence there. People do not know the actual truth about you, so they accuse me of, oh, this is going on to another subject now. We'll finish there. Are there any questions? Yes.
Maharaj, I have a question.
You're going to have to speak loud. This fan is so loud, I can hardly hear anything.
My question is, Maharaj, how do we know whether we are imitating or following, whether it's senior devotees or guru?
Whether you're imitating or following.
How will you know?
How will you know whether you're imitating or following? How will you know? Don't follow me, I'm imitating. So anyone's got a good answer? I can give an honest answer, I can't give you a good one. So we can talk about that. Does anyone else like to add something?
Yeah.
What's the difference between imitation and following? Excuse me?
Papa gave example of Lord Shiva.
Okay, there you go. There's a simple example from Shastra. Lord Shiva. He's famous for many things. One of he's known as, what is that? Nilakanta. What is Nilakanta? Blue throat. He got a blue throat. Why has he got a blue throat? Because he drank the poison of the ocean of nectar, the milk ocean. When they churned the ocean, he drank the poison that came out. So he held it in his throat. He held it there, he didn't take it down, he kept it. So, probably as an example that people like to imitate Lord Shiva. Why do they like to imitate Lord Shiva? Or how do they imitate him?
Smoking ganja.
That's a very mild one, isn't it? Smoking ganja, all kinds of intoxications. Huh? Even worse things like liquor, and things like that. They inhale liquor, or even worse, no, let's say worse. But cigarettes and liquor even, they're worse than ganja in terms of, you could say, the health situation. And then all kinds of drugs. Different intoxications. People like to take intoxications, and they don't even know it, but they're actually imitating the same thing. They're drinking poison. They're drinking poison or eating poison. You could go on and on with that one. So this is the idea. So why? For our sense gratification. Imitation is for your sense gratification. Following is to actually give up your sense gratification. So if you're actually doing it, the motive. If you're trying to behave like a great devotee, what for? Is it to get praise? Is it to get money? Is it to get a position? Is it to get liberated? It depends what it's for. They may look the same. There's a famous story of Haridas Thakur. He was, if you know, Haridas Thakur is one of the greatest devotees of Lord Chaitanya's Sankirtan movement. And he came to this one village. There was one rich man there. He had a snake charmer, and the snake charmer was there with all the snakes, and all the snakes are dancing. You know, you see them in India even now, these snake charmers. And many people gather around usually to see this. It's quite an interesting scene. Many people will gather around. Haridas Thakur happened to be passing by, and at that moment the snake charmer happened to be singing about Krishna subduing the Kaliya serpent. When Haridas was hearing these pastimes in the distance of the snake charmer singing from the Bhagavatam about Krishna captivating the, controlling the Kaliya serpent. And Haridas Thakur couldn't control himself. He went into ecstasy hearing these transcendental story of Krishna. And he just went into samadhi. He was rolling on the ground and exhibiting all the ecstatic symptoms. At that moment, the snake charmer stopped and started offering his obeisances to Haridas Thakur. Everything stopped. The people didn't know what was going on. They were just gathered around. And after some time, Haridas came out of his trance and he moved along. Meanwhile, in the crowd, there was one imitative Brahmin who thought he would imitate Haridas Thakur. Now, all these people in the crowd were all offering their obeisances to Haridas because these snake charmers they could understand it. He's great soul. So this Brahmin was a very proud Brahmin, so if an ordinary low-class person like Haridas Thakur could get so much respect, just imagine what I get if I did the same thing. After all, he's just making a show of people. They're very, easy to take in. So let me do the same thing, and what wonderful respect I'll get. Nobody can imagine. This is easy. So he just, after the snake charmer started up again, singing away, next all dancing, this fellow came bursting out the audience, screaming and flapping his arms around, rolling on the ground. The snake charmer stopped again. He looked at him, turned around, picked up a big stick, which was kind of, when I beat the hell out of it. Get out of here, you nonsense. The guy ran for his life, Everyone was shocked. Then the snake charmer just carried on as if nothing happened. And after he stopped, the rest of the people said, we were ordered, we don't understand it. So he explained, this man is simply trying to imitate. It's a nonsense. He's doing it for his own praise and name and fame, for his own sense gratification. So if you're doing it for your own enjoyment, that's imitation. You're imitating. Because there's sometimes your imitation of a good thing. So there's another angle to that. Children naturally imitate. They're kind of innocent, they don't know what they're doing. But they kind of imitate. New devotees may also do that too. There's a kind of innocence involved. But in the bigger picture, we have to follow. Follow means you have to hear from somebody, isn't it? You don't just make your own thing up. Well, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to parrot-like learn what he said. He got 500 disciples from the classes he's given. So if I just repeat word for word what he's saying, I will also get 500 disciples, right? Best of luck. But, this type of thing, if I do what they do, then I can also get what they're getting. Now the first one's not asking for anything. He's doing it as a service. Because his spiritual master asked him to do it. He's authorized. The other one's doing it because he wants to do it. I want to do it. I'm going to try to copy what you're doing so I can get the same money and in Vedic society it's like that too, even materially. In Iskcon said, one should play the part ordained by the Lord and not try to play the part and not to imitate others. In other words, the whole Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna wanted to imitate a Brahmin. That's not his role. He's a Kshatriya. He said, you're nonsense. You're talking nonsense. This is not your duty. Don't imitate like this. Follow your duty. Follow your nature. And we don't know what our nature is half the time, but that's a material principle. It's the same thing. It's considered a great sin to try to play someone else's part in Vedic society. That's what Krishna talks about in the 3rd chapter, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajaguna Samudbhavaha. Do you know that verse? Arjuna asked Krishna, what causes a man to act sinfully is even if against his own will? What we're driven? And Krishna says, Kama Esha Krodha Esha. Kama is lust. Lust only, Arjuna, which in contact with the mode of passion transforms into anger. Lust. That's what causes a man to act sinfully. So what is he talking about? Make sure they get prasadam, please. Don't go without prasad. If they're going. Maybe you're not going. If you are, make sure they get some prasad, please. So what is this all? I'm not telling you have to stay. Don't feel obligated. Okay. But what's he talking about? Where in that third chapter does Krishna mention sex? Where does he mention wealth? He doesn't mention those at all. He's talking about performing your duty according to your nature. That's what he's referring to in this verse. It also refers to the other details, but it's primarily to act against your nature and try to imitate someone else to fulfill your own sense gratification. That's what it means. Arjuna was thinking of his own sense gratification. That's all he was thinking about. In the name of compassion, what makes me feel good? If we try to imitate someone to try to feel good. If you try to follow someone, you may also feel good. You know, he asked them, how can I feel good? Then I'll give you directions, depending on if they're spiritually advanced or not, directions to help you to get out of this mentality. So you want to start thinking what will make Krishna feel good. So we follow those who know how to act selflessly, unalloyed devotion. Cannot be imitated. But by following the pure devotees, they may give you ABC. You have to go through ABC. You can't get to XYZ until you do an ABC. So you have to go through that time. Does that make some sense? She's gone anyway. She's not even here. Oh, there you are. Okay. Anything else?
Maharaj, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
You mentioned that we have to follow His Krishna, His pure devotees. But then, what if like the Maya is too strong? How?
The what?
When the Maya is too strong, how?
Maya is strong.
Yes, how to practically like overcome that?
Maya is strong. Yeah, you know, Krishna says that, doesn't he? What did he say in the Bhagavad Gita? Who knows that famous verse? Daidi Heshu Gunamaya, Mahamaya Rachiyamaya, Ajunte, Ayami Bhaktarante. What did he say? In English. Very difficult to overcome, right? It is very difficult to overcome. It's Krishna's energy. It's not, we have sometimes a misconception and we think Maya is like the enemy of Krishna. She is not the enemy of Krishna. She is the servant of Krishna, very dear servant of Krishna. And her role is to fulfill our illusory desires to think separately from Krishna. As long as we're thinking separately of Krishna, we can never get out of Maya. So what to do? It's Krishna's energy. So one thing is, remember that Maya is Krishna's energy, not yours, mine, or anyone else's. She is not the devil. There is no such thing as a personified form of a competitor to Krishna. This is a kind of a, let's say, an adaptation to help people to become more fearful, so they take shelter of God. That's just a way of teaching children. Like you may teach your children something like, if you do that, don't go in the forest. There's an oogly googly demon in there. He'll eat you if you go in there. There is no oogly googly demon in there. Mother may say things like that to put you off going in the forest because you're not ready for it. So it's a little bit like that. However, there is an influence which can be related to such a terminology of temptation to turn away from the will of God, which we're all affected by. So that's Maya's role, but she's not like the devil at all. The devil is in her own heart, if you want to put a localized kind of label on it. We have devilish mentality that we want to enjoy the kingdom of God without God. So how to transform that? Well, remembering that everything is Krishna's is one thing. How else can we do it? What does Krishna say? This material energy is very difficult to overcome. It's divine, it's Daivi. This divine energy is just seen by us as non-divine. What we are seeing is actually divine energy, it's the spiritual world, but we're seeing it differently. Our eyes are covered due to our separatist mentality. Maya therefore helps us to see things separately from him. So we do see things separately from him, you could say, by the arrangement of Maya. That's our job. We want to see things separately. So we have to change our perception. We have to see things in relationship with Krishna. That's the path of surrendering to Krishna. Krishna only does surrender unto me can cross beyond it. So the path of surrendering to Krishna, it takes time. It doesn't necessarily take time. You can do it in a moment. But usually it takes time because we have doubts, we have attachments, we're associating with persons who have no interest. So it may take some time. The process is accelerated according to our association or slowed down according to our association. The more we associate with those who are taking shelter of Krishna, then the process of taking shelter of Krishna can be accelerated. By your will, by your prayers, by your even if you're, sometimes when you're in the most difficult of all situations, surrounded by innumerable distractions and persons who are totally disinterested, or you're in a very hard situation, sometimes those situations are actually an opportunity to advance more. If you're really sincere, you'll really take shelter of Krishna. I have no other choice. You can't just say, hey Prabhu, can you give me a gulab, I'm feeling hungry. Prasadam Prabhu, Hari Bol, thank you very much. You feel, oh, I had a great day today. I had 100 gulabs today, fantastic. You're in the temple, or you're not doing. One devotee said to me, I'm not here now. Where's he gone? Yeah, your son. Where is he? How's that? Is he there? No. In the kitchen, good boy. No, your daughter, wasn't it? Your daughter. Said, I asked her what she wanted to do. And I think you said, or your husband said, she said, I don't want to work. I want to become a Krishna, Hare Krishna. I don't want to work. You don't have to do anything. The idea is you don't have to do anything. Huh? I didn't quite, we haven't quite finished. 3 seconds. Quite 3 seconds more. Like that. Well, somebody else can give another point. How can we overcome the influence of the material energy? The simple answer is we cannot. That's the simple answer. It's impossible. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said it's impossible. Because we're fools. Impossible is a word in a fool's dictionary. We happen to be fools. So you have to recognize you're helpless. We're fools. And in that helpless condition, what are we going to do? You go to someone who can help you. You have to pray. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said we have to pray fervently to the Lord for His mercy. That's the way. He said there's no other way. We can try to surround ourselves. We can try all the techniques, which is very important. You try to chant in the morning and on and on. Try to make sure you chant as much as you can. Read the Shastras. All these things will help to sharpen your intelligence so we don't get so distracted by the material energy. But ultimately, we're really, we don't realize how difficult it is to overcome these things. You go back to say what was telling me today, yeah? What did you say? How fortunate you were to meet the devotees, right? There was no way you could have survived otherwise. No way. Carried away in the waves of the material ocean. So entrenched in deep, dark well, as we heard tonight, this Bhava-kupa, this deep, dark well of material existence. Yeah, it might take a little time before we clean our hearts, so the heart is cleansed. It takes a time when you're very, very dirty, covered in oil and grease and mud and slime. It takes a while to clean it off, doesn't it? Scrubbing. One time, the way he said, probably trying to purify us is like trying to clean coal. You know what coal is? You burn it, it's black stuff. He said it's like trying to clean coal. The more you clean, it's still black underneath, you know. You clean another level, it's still black, 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 black. But there is underneath, somewhere, there is the pure soul. But it takes a while before we reach there. Until that time, there's always that risk. But don't become disheartened when we sometimes have some difficulty when we fall away a bit. Come back again, so try to take shelter, pray to Krishna, learn from the lesson, learn the lesson. See how you can protect yourself from various pitfalls. Don't worry, Krishna's there. He's not going to give you a test you can't take. He doesn't put a devotee in a position, a situation which is impossible. You know, you give a test, it's like going to school. The teacher gives you a test which you may be a little bit above your ability, but a test that you can reach, you know. You may not quite make it 100%, but you go for it. Like jumping up a bar, you're starting raising the bar. He's not going to give you a bar too high. So the test will be what you need to have, and if you take shelter of Krishna, you can move forward. You're not going to face the same test that Haridas Thakur had to take, for instance, or Jesus had to take, you know. They're on the topmost platform. But they're giving you tests which are just appropriate to their level of advancement. You'll notice when you do turn to Krishna in those tests, you kind of lose. You lose the test doesn't come again necessarily. You pass and move on to another one. Gradual one, then another one. That's Maya's business. Her business is twofold, you could say. One is to test the devotee, to make us advance in Krishna consciousness. The other is to keep the materialistic person in illusion, because that's what they want. But the devotee, if you want to go back to Godhead, then Maya, under the direction of Krishna, will give the necessary test to help release you from the bondage of this world. And the devotees will encourage you. Krishna will also give you the opportunity to know what to do. Sometimes it looks like we fail, but you don't really fail. It's just a way of learning not how to do it, not how not to do it, or some lesson is learned there when you have some fall down on some problem. You can learn how not to do it. You become more determined or more dependent, more sincere. Sometimes you have to learn the hard way, as we say.
I'm sorry about a while ago. Regarding imitation and following, Srila Prabhupada has this strong point when he's doing preaching. He has this strategic preaching, very strong. He would often say that Maya is a witch.
A witch.
And we have to declare war on Maya.
You have to declare war on Maya.
We as neophytes, we often use the same words. We said, Maya is a witch.
Maya is a witch.
So we are...
declare war. Take up your weapons. Put your coat on right now. We're declaring war on Maya.
We are imitating, but we learned from you a while ago that Maya is the divine energy of Krishna.
Yeah, no, so, Krishna says that himself.
Yes, in the Bhagavat Gita. So how can we embrace the preaching mood of Srila Prabhupada without offending Maya Devi?
Okay, there you go. Maya's a witch. A witch. What does that mean? Let's go one by one definition and maybe some understanding. What is a witch? What do they do?
Like deceive.
Huh?
Deceive. It's kind of deceive.
They may curse you. What else? Well, they generally curse you if someone...
They give pain to others.
Huh?
They give pain to others.
They may give pain to others, but what is one of the things witches, I don't know, maybe in different parts of the world they're understood differently.
Magic.
The very word witch.
Magic.
Have you heard the word bewitch? Bewitch? What is bewitch? Bewitch. Somebody bewitches you. They trick you. The witch trick. Spell. Cast a spell. They cast a spell on you. You know? They got this mystic power to cast a spell. They bewilder you. You are, where you're going, what's happening, you're lost, Everything's gone, chaos, whatever. They can, there's a witch, something. They do different things, but that's one of the things they do. And that's what Maya does. That's her job. You want to be separate from Krishna, where are you going to go? So she casts a spell where you forget who you are, You think there's something you're not. You think this is mine, which it isn't. You think that God doesn't exist. You think I belong here. I like you, I don't like you, or this, that, and the other. You think all these things. This is all Maya's spell. To fulfill their desire to forget Krishna completely. Otherwise there's no way you can forget it, because in the spiritual world there's nothing, you're going to be really out. Imagine if you're in a situation where you really hate somebody, so everywhere you go, there they are. You open the toilet, they're in the toilet. You go to your bed, they're lying in your bed. You go in the bank, they're right behind the counter. Yes. Wherever you go, there they are. Not very nice, is it? So, this Krishna's arrangement, he puts you in the influence of Maya, so you forget him. She's acts like a witch in that way. She's not a witch, but she's acting like, therefore she... So what is the Maya that we declare war on? What is the Maya? As you rightly said, are we going to declare a war on the divine energy of Krishna? I hope not. What is the enemy that we have to... What does Prahlad Maharaj say about our enemies? He describes the enemies, doesn't he? To his father.
Adanta Gopi, Vishwatan, uncontrolled senses.
That's one person. What is the enemy?
The mind.
The mind.
The mind can be our friend or an enemy. Because when the mind is uncontrolled, when the mind is absorbed in the absorption in sense gratification, uncontrolled sense gratification. When we're lust, what are our 6 enemies? Lust, greed, anger, envy, illusion, and madness. These are our enemies. And that's what happens when we come under the influence of Maya. The Bhagavat tells a nice story of one king. This king was very fascinated about how Maya works and how to get out of Maya. Why are we so much under the influence of Maya? And so on and so forth. He was very interested. So he was trying to find a clear answer from his ministers, but they weren't giving clear enough. He didn't feel satisfied, whatever they were saying, quoting this and that. And in the court one day, this very blind man, stumbled into the court. They were discussing this point of how Maya keeps us under her influence and how we can get out of her influence. And so this blind man came in and they said, get him out of here, he's not meant to be here. The king said, no, let him come in. Somehow or other he was inspired. Let him come in. And then the king asked this blind man the same question. And the blind man stumbled across the floor and bumped into imagine this was a tree. It might fall over if I grab it. I'm not going to grab it too hard. But he grabbed a tree like this and he started screaming, let me go! Let me go! Everyone thought this man's mad. The tree's not holding you. You're holding the tree. The king was looking and watching and thinking. He said, He realized what was going on there. It's not exactly Maya's holding us. We're holding Maya. Maya is just reciprocating accordingly. You're holding on to Maya. That's the problem. That's the enemy is their own self. Uncontrolled mind. That's the enemy. That's what we have to declare war on. Our minds. Not the mind itself, but the uncontrolled mind. And that's why control is required. That's why rules and regulations are in place. We can't do it on our own. Therefore there are codes in Vedic society, Varnashram. There are codes of behavior for different genders, different persons, which will help us gradually become released or help us to let go of mind and to offer that to Krishna instead of trying to enjoy it ourselves. This propensity of trying to enjoy it ourselves is a real enemy. And in devotional service that comes over when we want to do it my way. When we try to interpret everything our way, which means we're holding on to Maya still. Step by step we have to try to let go. It takes time. The subtle ones are more difficult than the gross ones. letting go and taking hold of Krishna instead of Maya. So that's our battle. That's the hardest battle. Well, that's the real, that talks about it. This is the real hero, not the one who goes out, guns and this and that, or the one who curses the devil or whatever they think they're doing. You go to hell, all this stuff. But who actually lets go. That's very difficult. Very difficult. But that's made possible only by the grace of the Lord, which comes through the grace of the devotees. They give their guidelines, their instructions, and if we try to follow those, then gradually we'll let go of Maya. One thing after another, one step at a time, maybe, gradually let go. We'll realize it as we progress in spiritual life. You don't realize it in the beginning. You're just lapping it up like a little child who's just got a new toy. And it's all joy, Then you realize you have to go a little bit further than just a joyful toy. Surrender. Surrender is called surrender. In the battle, the enemy surrender. Or shoot you. So we're in that position, you have to surrender. But not to Maya, surrender to Krishna. We're in Maya's camp right now. Move into Krishna's camp. All right, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.